Hi, this is Pastor Randall Neal at Zion Lutheran Church in Hopkins, Minnesota. Today's Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. And I want to share a little bit this morning about an experience I had as a young boy growing up in Miami, Florida. Now, I had never heard of Centrifugal Force when, as a boy, I went for special rides in downtown Miami, Florida, where I grew up. Each Christmas, as a kind of promotion, Burdine's department store, it's kind of like Macy's is around here. Well, this big Burdine's department store right smack dab downtown would bring in a carnival-type company which had amusement park-type rides with it as part of it. Well, what was unique about this particular event is that the carnival rides would be set up on the roof of the department store. That's right. It was awesome. You're standing down on the sidewalk and you look up to the roof, and there it was with the Ferris wheels and the other stuff that carnivals have. Well, this ride on the roof particularly caught my fancy. Now, I've always remembered, not necessarily with great fondness, the time my folks took us four kids to see this event and get a special ride, because we didn't get that opportunity often. Well, this ride, particularly on the roof, that caught my attention was called the Rotor. The Rotor. And it fascinated me. Apparently, what was going to happen was you get inside this round chamber and you stand against the wall. And this chamber starts to spin faster and faster, and pretty soon it plastered me against that wall. Before long, I had no choice where I was going to stand. There was this powerful, invisible force that was pushing me to the outside of the chamber. Well, guess what? That centrifugal force that my science teacher told me about years later, the kind that pushes everything to the edge, is something that happened not just on that ride decades ago in Miami, Florida. And just as a side note, when I got off that ride, I wasn't feeling very good. I was sick as a dog. Motion sickness is a common side effect, and I'm very sensitive to that. I get car sick and boat sick and air sick and all that regularly. So I didn't do very well, and I didn't like it. Now, back to the ride. It was kind of exciting. It really was, because after you're pushed to the edge, the floor dropped out from beneath you. And that turned out to be not a problem, because I didn't have to be afraid of falling. I wasn't going anywhere because, centrifugal force forced me to the outside. It literally has tremendous power to push things to the outer edges. Well, that brings me to my point this morning. You know, our Christian faith is a lot like that. Luke 2, verse 6 tells us these very familiar words. It says, "While they were there, as in Bethlehem, the time came for the baby to be born. And she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn." Now, the reason I'm referring to this is you'll notice that text section in Luke 2 doesn't say anything that there was no interest in this baby that was going to be born. It doesn't say that there was no concern about the baby being born. It just says there was no room. There we get to the point. Jesus wasn't told to go to the manger. He was just sort of pushed there by an already full house. Well, my friends, that's still happening to our Savior today. You see, the more complicated life becomes, the more he gets relegated to the leftovers on our schedule. If I have time, Lord, I'll be with you. It's like centrifugal force. The faster your life is spinning, the more Jesus, sad to say, is pushed to the edges. And then on top of that, here comes COVID-19 and all the stuff that has come along with this pandemic virus. Maybe you're in the middle of some of those unpleasant, even frightening results of the virus in your life right now. Maybe you're so preoccupied with the have-tos of life right now that the very Savior we should be honoring is getting squeezed out by the spinning of lockdowns and school schedule nightmares and job layoffs and all the preparations for getting through this very unpleasant time in ourselves and in our country. Now, if I had a whistle right now, I'd blow it like a coach. Time out, stop this spinning long enough to see where we're putting our Jesus. In the stable? Well, that's actually wrong. It was wrong before the Christmas season. It's more wrong now. You see, Jesus' time has got to be non-negotiable in our lives, my friends. Not to be canceled or compromised by anything. All the other pressures of your life, they're going to pass. We are going to get through this virus. We know it. A lot of you are getting your shots already, and I haven't had mine yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully be of help to us all. And we know we're going to get through it. But in the meantime, there's an awful lot of things that have pushed Jesus to the side in our life. All those deadlines, all those things that are pushing at you, they're going to pass. Now, put it in perspective. If by chance you got sick today, somehow you know what? They, whether boss, fellow employees, family members, and so on, they'd get it done by somebody else or decide that it wasn't that important to do. But only your relationship with Jesus Christ will last forever. Now, it may take some courage, some discipline, some sacrifice, some hard choices. But Jesus Christ must once again be crowned the king of your schedule and your time with him. The non-negotiable of your personal schedule, he's saying, I want my time with you. Well, whatever you do, my friends, don't push him to the edge. Don't tell him, oh, I'd love to, but there's no room. That's the king at our door. Make sure he stays in. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to our next visit.